Well, now my head's all big. By saying nice stuff about me, I appreciate that. Well, what do you guys, how do you make sense of all this? I mean, you have somebody who says the whole model for the past century of economic prosperity and growth is fundamentally flawed and should be thrown over. You have somebody who says that here we are, you're going to be ground zero on Tuesday, the entire planet watching your campus as two potential leaders clash, and they're not even going to talk about the most important issue probably affecting your generation, whether or not there will be a 22nd century. You have somebody who points out that we have the genius and wisdom of all people in one country, and yet we're not getting the job done when we could. And then you have somebody that points out that actually the wisdom on the issue is not sucked up at the top, it's actually gathered in the bottom of our society, that people, ordinary people, usually are left out of the discussion on environmentalism. Actually know more about what's going on than the people who are sitting at the top of the pyramid. I mean, it sucks to be you. What do you do with it? You know, your generation is gonna either make history or be history. That's basically what it comes down to for you guys. Best I can tell, and again, I'm just listening to these guys talk. But you're either gonna make history or you're gonna be history. Where are you and what's gonna happen to you? When I talk about the environment, by the way, I'm not talking about polar bears. I love polar bears, but not up close. True story. I actually went to Arctic with the Madeline Albright and Ted Turner and all those people. And true story. And went there, and everybody's, we're concerned about global warming. We're concerned about the Arctic. We're concerned about the plight of the polar bears. And you got up there, and you're in the Arctic now, you're dealing with people. And you see them, and they live there. You say to them, and we care about the polar bears. And the first thing they do, they grab their rifle and say, where is it? Where is it? You may love polar bears. Polar bears don't love you. So I point this out because there's a way that the environmental community has been framed as always about some other species, not you. Some other place, some rainforest you've never been to, some critter you've never seen that might eat you. That's the last century's conversation about the environment. I'm talking about you. What's going to happen to you? As best I can tell, my generation is throwing your generation in the garbage. As best I can tell, my generation thinks your generation is disposable. As best I can tell, my generation thinks that your generation is a throwaway generation. It's not just about having throwaway stuff, and you guys, bitching at us about recycling, which we appreciate. But it's not just the danger of throwaway stuff. What about a throwaway generation? That's really the conversation I want us to have. You should not be faced with graduating off a cliff into no jobs with massive debt at a time when there's more work to be done in our country than ever before. Say that again. It is a crime that my generation is committing against your generation, that many of you are going to graduate off a cliff into no jobs with massive debt when there's more work to be done in America than ever before. Why shouldn't you be able to walk off this campus and the banks that are actually charging you up the wazoo for your student loans, you should be able to go to them and get funding to create the ecological energy solutions of the future? You got two revolutions alone you got to run. Don't talk to me about the 60th generation, the civil rights movement. You got to run two different revolutions simultaneously just to have a chance to survive, period. Number one, fuel. Number two, food. Your generation has to figure out how to change the way we power our buildings and our machines. Your generation has to figure that out. Right now, the way we power our buildings and our machines, let me tell you how we do it. We take dead stuff out of the ground and burn it. That's not hyperbole. Why do they call it fossil fuels? Because it's alive? No, because it's dead. Oil's been in the ground 60 million years, dead. Coal, 100 million years, dead. Your country, your civilization, humanity right now, great idea, dig all that dead stuff out of the ground, burn it, without ceremony, and then be shocked when having taken death out of the ground and burned it, you now got death in the lungs of your kids in the form of asthma. You got death on the ocean in the form of oil spills. And you got death from the skies in the form of climate change. That's my generation's gift to you. See how much we love you? A whole civilization powered on burning dead stuff. And you got a political party, God bless them, that says that's such a great idea they want to double down on that. And so we can drill and burn our way out of all our energy problems. That's not true. That's only one of your problems. Now, you got to say to my generation, look, I know you want us to go out here and keep drilling holes in these mountains and dragging out dead stuff to burn. I know you want us to keep risking our lives, our cousins risking their lives out there on the oil platforms, drilling holes to suck out more dead stuff. But America's future is not down in those holes. Your generation's future is not down in those holes. If you want to see the future, look up. Look at the sun. Look at the Saudi Arabia of solar power that falls on this country every single day. That's the future. You should have the right and the opportunity to go become millionaires and billionaires harvesting that and putting people to work. If you want to see the future, look up. Look at the wind. We have a Saudi Arabia of wind energy that blows across this country every single day, and not just in the plain states. Off our coastlines, up in the Great Lakes area. You should be getting engineering degrees for free to go figure out how to tap that energy and begin to run America on clean energy. If you want to see the future, look up. Look up. Look in the eyes of all these kids in the neighborhood you guys just got out of. Some of them barely escaped out of these neighborhoods. You go home Thanksgiving, you look at what's going on. The program that you went to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, being cut. Literally, the run you just stepped on getting cut away. You should have the ability to go and give jobs to those folks, because it's not just food, it's also fuel. You got to change the way we power our buildings and our machines. That's the clean energy revolution. You also got to change the way we power our bodies. That's the organic and local food revolution. Why do we use poison to grow food? You say, we don't use poison. This guy's just going too far. I kind of like the solar thing, but this is poison food. We got any English majors here? No, not anyone. Humanities in general? No. One? Okay, one. Well, they'll back me up on this. Anytime, I'll give you a bucket. Anytime you see the word, the suffix side, get very nervous. Homicide, suicide, pesticide. Why do we soak the ground with poison to grow food? And then we're shocked by cancer rates. What, to grow a carrot, why do you need a big old tractor that's bells down smoke and pollution? Why do we have a poison and pollution-based agricultural system? Why aren't we growing food in the inner cities? We can't grow food in the inner cities. Well, I happen to know, coming from Oakland, there's lots of herbs being grown indoors. So don't tell me that we couldn't have urban farming and aquaponics for good herbs rather than some of these other herbs. This is your generation's responsibility. Change the way we power our buildings and our machines. Change the way we power our bodies. Clean energy, organic food. This isn't just good for the polar bears, it's good for you. The next environmental movement is a jobs movement. It's an economic opportunity movement. It's a I want more work, more wealth, and better health for myself and my family movement. And it's going to be left to your generation to pull it off because my generation is stuck on stupid. That's what's happening in Washington, D.C. We are in a food fight politics while the planet's being cooked, while you guys' economic region being thrown down the garbage chute, while cancer rates are going up, obesity is going out off the wazoo, and you guys want people in the country with enough sense to do something about it. You're big enough as a generation. You are the biggest generation of Americans that we have had since the baby boomers. The baby boomers, when they came on the scene, we had racism, we had segregation, we had women being mistreated, we had everything in the world. We had a war going on in Vietnam, and they took a big bite out of all that. From 1959, when the country looked like Leave It to Beaver, unless you're black, left out Beaver, but that kind of, you know what I'm saying? You had that kind of quiet, stale kind of country, 59. By 69, you had the civil rights movement, anti-war, flower power, the whole deal. In 10 years, what happened? Get a new constitution? No, you had a new generation that took the stage. And it was huge. And they refused to be sold a bunch of BS and not stand up for what they believe in. Well, you're bigger than the baby boomers. Think about that. There are more of you than were baby boomers. You're more diverse. As my brother said, you have the wisdom of all generations in one generation, one country. Never happened before in human history. Just look to your left, to your right. You're bigger, you're more diverse, you got more technology. You got better technology in your cell phone. You got more computing power in your smartphone. Literally, you. Than the U.S. government had when it put a man on the moon. Do you know that? You have more and better computing technology on your person than the government had when it put a man on the moon. Everyone, he was a walking technological superpower. The question is, when are you going to stop using these things, these gadgets, these gizmos as toys and start using them as tools to bring your generation together to solve the